Nobody was ready for what hit the internet at 2:17. One cryptic post, one blurry screenshot, and suddenly Tamar Braxton's name was trending worldwide for all the wrong reasons. Not for music, not for TV, but for a rumor so dark, so reckless, so explosive that fans literally froze mid-scroll. Because this wasn't just gossip anymore. This was the kind of allegation that can destroy a life in minutes. According to what's spreading online, everything traces back to one night that was never supposed to go public. One appearance, one after-hours moment. And then, boom, anonymous accounts started dropping medical confirmations, claiming doctors had said something they never publicly said, backed by zero proof but fueled by pure internet hysteria. Within hours, blogs ran with it. Twitter erupted into war zones. TikTok detectives stitched theories like they were facts. And Tamar, completely silent. That silence made things worse. Insiders claim Tamar was blindsided, emotionally shattered, and furious as she watched strangers diagnose her body, rewrite her story, and weaponize her name for clicks. Private messages allegedly leaked. Voice notes supposedly surfaced. And suddenly people were pointing fingers at Mendeecees, dragging old scandals into a brand new firestorm that kept growing by the minute. Fans are asking the same terrifying question right now. How did a rumor turn into a global conviction overnight? And why does it feel like someone wanted this narrative to explode? Because what's coming next isn't just messy, it's devastating. By sunrise, the damage was already done. Screenshots were flying faster than facts, and nobody was stopping to ask where any of it came from. A single anonymous account had posted a vague line about doctors confirming something shocking, never naming a condition, never citing a source, but that didn't matter. The internet filled in the blanks on its own, and once it did, there was no pulling it back. Tamar Braxton's name wasn't just trending. It was being dissected, speculated on, and dragged into the darkest corners of social media like a cautionary tale nobody verified. Insiders say Tamar woke up to hundreds of missed calls and texts, most of them not asking if she was okay, but asking if the rumors were true. That's when reality hit. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a full-scale digital ambush. One source close to her said she sat on the edge of her bed in silence, scrolling, watching strangers argue about her body like it belonged to the public. No compassion, no pause, just accusations wrapped in certainty. And then the so-called receipts started circulating. A cropped screenshot claiming to be from a medical portal. A blurred image of what looked like lab paperwork with names blacked out. A voice note allegedly sent to a friend where Tamar sounded shaken, except no one could verify if it was her voice at all. Experts online immediately pointed out inconsistencies, but those warnings were drowned out by louder voices screaming, confirmed with zero evidence. Meanwhile, Mendeecees' name was being pulled into the chaos whether he spoke or not. Old clips resurfaced. Past controversies were dragged up like they were suddenly relevant. Comment sections turned brutal, accusing, speculative. Some fans demanded statements. Others demanded apologies. From who? For what? Nobody even agreed on the facts, but that didn't stop the pile-on. Behind the scenes, Tamar was reportedly losing it. Not in a dramatic, camera-ready way. In the quiet, dangerous way that happens when someone feels completely stripped of control. One insider claimed she called her legal team before she called her family. Another said she kept repeating the same sentence over and over. "They don't get to do this to me." Because at this point, it wasn't just gossip. It was character assassination disguised as concern. What made it worse was the silence from major blogs at first. Not silence in posting, silence in responsibility. Articles went up filled with allegedly, sources say, and rumors suggest. But the headlines screamed certainty. Fans noticed. Critics noticed. And then came the backlash. Some supporters started pushing back hard, demanding proof, calling out how dangerous it is to speculate about anyone's health. Hashtags flipped. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Then something unexpected happened. A celebrity Tamar had worked with years ago liked a tweet calling the rumors evil. That one sent shockwaves. People took it as confirmation that something ugly was happening behind the scenes. Screenshots of the like spread everywhere. Suddenly the narrative cracked just enough for doubt to seep in. But doubt doesn't stop momentum. It fuels it. Private group chats allegedly started leaking pieces of conversations that painted a much darker picture. Not about Tamar's health, but about how the rumor may have been planted in the first place. One message claimed someone had been sitting on this story, waiting for the right moment. Another hinted at jealousy tied to recent opportunities Tamar had secured quietly. Nothing was proven. Everything was weaponized. And through all of it, Tamar stayed silent. No Instagram Live, no tweet, no statement, just absence. That absence became the loudest sound of all. Because when a woman who has never been afraid to speak suddenly goes quiet, people start wondering if it's because she can't, or because she's preparing something much bigger. And according to whispers spreading tonight, Tamar isn't just upset. She's gathering receipts. And if even half of what insiders are hinting at is real, the next reveal won't just shut this rumor down. It will expose exactly who lit the match in the first place. By the second night, the story had outgrown the people at the center of it. Tamar Braxton wasn't just a person anymore. She was a headline, a hashtag, a theory board. Entire live streams were being dedicated to breaking down the timeline, as if pain could be reverse engineered into content. And the most disturbing part wasn't the speculation itself. It was how confidently strangers were speaking, like they had front row seats to a private crisis they were never invited into. Behind the scenes, things were spiraling fast. A source close to Tamar says she finally broke down when she realized this wasn't going to blow over in a day. Brands started calling. Friends started distancing themselves until things cleared up. One insider described it as a quiet exile, the kind that happens without anyone officially saying it out loud. Invitations paused. Group chats went silent. People didn't want to be attached to a rumor, even if they didn't believe it. And then came the betrayal no one saw coming. According to multiple whispers circulating in industry circles, Tamar allegedly discovered that one of the earliest accounts pushing the rumor was linked, indirectly, to someone she knew. Not a close friend, but someone who had been in her orbit long enough to feel familiar. Someone who had access. Someone who knew how fast misinformation spreads when you drop it at the right time and then step back. That's when the narrative shifted internally from damage control to hunt the source. While the public obsessed over supposed medical documents, Tamar's team was allegedly pulling IP trails, timestamps, and private message chains. They weren't trying to prove a diagnosis false. They were trying to prove intent. One source claimed the goal wasn't to correct the internet. It was to expose who wanted this lie to exist in the first place. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was under pressure from every direction. His silence was being interpreted in 10 different ways depending on who you asked. Some said he was protecting his family. Others accused him of hiding. Old interviews were clipped out of context. Past scandals were stitched into new accusations like they belonged together. And yet, insiders insist he was just as blindsided as Tamar. One particularly damaging moment came when a short audio clip began circulating in private Discord servers. It was grainy, out of context, and allegedly featured Tamar saying, "I can't believe this is happening to me." No names, no details, just emotion. But the internet decided what it meant within minutes. That clip was reposted everywhere, labeled as a confession, even though it proved nothing except distress. That's when Tamar's legal team allegedly stepped in hard. Cease and desist letters were rumored to be drafted. Smaller blogs quietly deleted posts. Larger platforms doubled down, hiding behind fair use and reporting on public discourse. The line between journalism and exploitation blurred beyond recognition. And fans started noticing something chilling. Corrections were never as loud as accusations. As pressure mounted, Tamar reportedly considered going live to shut everything down. Friends advised against it. "Once you speak, they'll twist your words," one insider said. "They're not listening to understand. They're listening to react." So she stayed quiet, not because she had something to hide, but because she finally understood the game. And then, just when things felt like they couldn't get darker, a new twist dropped. An anonymous insider emailed multiple gossip pages claiming Tamar was preparing to enter a facility. No proof, no confirmation, just another grenade tossed into an already burning room. Fans panicked. Critics pounced. Supporters begged people to stop. The rumor spread anyway. This was the moment the internet fractured. Some fans finally snapped, calling the entire situation cruel, invasive, and dangerous. Others accused Tamar of letting it happen by staying silent. The comment sections became brutal, divided between empathy and entitlement. And right in the middle of it all, Tamar was allegedly sitting with a small circle of trusted people, watching the chaos she never consented to. One person in that room reportedly said something chilling. "This isn't about you anymore. It's about what they think they can get away with." That sentence changed everything. Because according to multiple sources, Tamar made a decision that night. Not to explain, not to apologize, not to plead for understanding, but to flip the entire narrative on its head. Instead of defending herself against rumors, she would expose the machinery that creates them. And that's where this story takes a dangerous turn. Because if what's being whispered behind the scenes is true, Tamar isn't just sitting on screenshots. She's sitting on names, on timelines, on proof that this wasn't random internet chaos, but a calculated escalation designed to humiliate, distract, and profit off her pain. And the most shocking part, the people allegedly involved never expected her to fight back this way. They thought she'd crumble. They thought she'd retreat. They thought silence meant weakness. They were wrong. Because the next move isn't about rumors anymore. It's about accountability. And when that drops, this entire story changes, including who ends up exposed when the smoke finally clears. By the third wave, the internet wasn't just watching anymore, it was bracing. Something in the air shifted when a single post from Tamar's inner circle quietly appeared and disappeared within minutes. No caption, no explanation, just a black screen and one sentence that people managed to screenshot before it vanished. "The truth is documented." That was it. But that was enough to send timelines into overdrive. From that moment on, every move felt intentional. Tamar still didn't speak publicly, but her silence no longer felt passive. It felt controlled, strategic, like someone waiting for the exact second to strike back. Insiders say she had stopped doom-scrolling entirely and handed everything over to a trusted team. The goal wasn't to win public opinion. It was to survive the aftermath of a lie that had already done its damage. Then the leaks flipped direction. Instead of posts speculating about Tamar, screenshots began circulating about the rumor itself. Messages allegedly showing people coordinating the timing of posts. One account bragging about knowing when to drop it for max engagement. Another implying that attaching a familiar name guaranteed virality no matter how thin the claim was. None of it named Tamar directly, and that's what made it terrifying. It suggested this wasn't personal. It was opportunistic. Fans who had defended the rumor suddenly went quiet. Some deleted tweets, others locked accounts. A few doubled down, claiming the leaks were fake, but the energy had changed. For the first time, the question was what happened to Tamar? It was who did this to her? Meanwhile, industry reactions started trickling out in coded ways. A singer posted about how cruel it is to speculate about someone's health. A producer tweeted that content farming off pain is still exploitation. No names were mentioned, but the subtext was loud. Tamar wasn't alone anymore. The walls were starting to crack. Behind closed doors, the pressure reportedly reached a breaking point when a major platform contacted Tamar's team asking for comment, not to protect her, but to protect themselves. That's when insiders say Tamar laughed for the first time in days. Not because it was funny, because it was confirmation. The same machine that let the rumor spread unchecked was now afraid of being named in the fallout. And then came the moment everyone's been waiting for. A draft statement leaked. Not posted, not confirmed, but shared just enough to ignite speculation. It wasn't defensive. It didn't address the rumor directly. Instead, it laid out something far more dangerous, a timeline of how misinformation spreads, who profits, and how quickly a woman's humanity gets erased once engagement enters the room. It ended with one line that sent chills through fans. "I know who started this, and I know who helped it grow." The internet lost its mind. Was Tamar about to name names? Was she preparing legal action? Or was this something bigger, a public reckoning aimed at the entire gossip ecosystem? Commentators split into camps. Some begged her to go live and clear everything up. Others warned her that speaking might only reignite the fire. But Tamar, according to people close to her, wasn't interested in chasing validation anymore. She was interested in control. At the same time, people noticed something else. The original accounts that pushed the rumor had gone silent. Some deleted their posts. Others claimed they were misunderstood. One even tried to pivot into mental health advocacy, which only enraged fans further. Screenshots of their earlier messages resurfaced, exposing how casually they had speculated, joked, and escalated something that should never have been content. Mendeecees' camp finally broke their silence too, not with a statement but with action. Old footage was taken down. Comments were turned off. Sources say he was furious, not just at the rumors, but at how easily people connected his name to something so serious without hesitation. The collateral damage was real, and it wasn't slowing down. Then, late one night, Tamar posted again. No explanation, no receipts, just a photo of herself looking directly into the camera. Calm, composed, alive in a way that felt intentional. The caption read, "I survived worse than lies." That single sentence did more to shut the internet up than any denial ever could. But here's the thing. People close to Tamar insist that wasn't the end. It was the warning. Because according to multiple insiders, Tamar is preparing to speak, not in a live stream, not in a tweet, but in a format that can't be clipped, twisted, or reduced to a headline. A controlled space. A long-form conversation. One where she doesn't just defend herself, but exposes how easily a woman's name can be turned into currency. And if that happens, this story won't just be about one rumor. It'll be about the culture that allowed it. About the people who hid behind allegedly, while causing real harm. About the platforms that benefited from the chaos, and only cared once liability entered the chat. And about what happens when someone who's been underestimated decides they've had enough. Because Tamar Braxton didn't just watch the internet try to erase her humanity. She watched who clapped, who stayed silent, and who spoke up. And when the full truth finally comes out, it won't just shock people. It'll force a lot of them to answer for why they helped spread something they never bothered to verify in the first place. This isn't over. It's just been quiet. And that should scare the right people. If you've made it this far, don't click away now, because this is one of those moments where staying silent is exactly what keeps the cycle going. Stories like this don't explode on their own. They spread because people watch, scroll, share, and never stop to question who gets hurt in the process. And whether you believe every rumor, none of them, or you're still undecided, one thing is undeniable. Something here went way too far. This isn't just celebrity gossip anymore. This is about how fast lies can travel, how easily names get dragged for clicks, and how dangerous it is when speculation turns into conviction. That's why your engagement right now actually matters. Liking this video isn't about co-signing drama, it's about pushing back against reckless narratives. Commenting isn't just typing words, it's adding your voice to a conversation that refuses to let silence win. And subscribing means you're staying locked in for the moments that actually bring clarity, not just chaos. Because trust this, when the full truth finally drops, it won't be whispered. It will land hard, and the people who thought this would blow over quietly are not ready for what's coming next. You don't want to hear about it after the fact. You want to be here when it happens. So hit like, drop your thoughts below. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update, because this story is still unfolding, and the next chapter could change everything.